lads, give your heart and soul. Run lads, shoot lads, give us all a go. Run lads, shoot lads, you can do it yet. Come on Newport County, oh, bang it in the net.
Hello everybody and welcome to Taff's Word. Before I start this one, because it's going to be, I know, a bit of a risque subject, I'm happy to talk about pretty much anything, although until recently this is a subject that I've wanted to completely avoid for obvious reasons until my club were criticised over it on the weekend. I want to make sure everybody's paid attention, close attention to the disclaimer at the very beginning of this video, which will explain that everything that I say comes from up here and from nobody else. Nobody influences what I say in these vlogs. So I just want to make that clear before I kick off with this. Obviously the subject of the video, I think you guys know what I'm going to talk about. So first of all, to put in a bit of content, Newport County were criticised for not taking the knee on the weekend, although it's taken them 3 games, which I think they haven't done it in, for someone to actually notice and say something about it. Right, I'm just going to get straight into it, really. It's of my personal belief that football's not a political platform, it's a sport. Although people will say that there's responsibilities of the bigger clubs and bigger players to stand up for certain things in society. I don't think it's something that should be enforced onto people, because freedom of speech is very much within everybody's human rights, and that's legally documented under law that people have freedom of speech, freedom of expression. The other reason why football shouldn't be a political platform, in my opinion, is rightly or wrongly, supporters have different political beliefs. Whether they're bad, whether they're good. I think there's bad on both sides of politics, but at the end of the day, football supporters, the people that put the money into the sport in the first place, the people that pay for the TV subscriptions that get all the games on TV, all have different political beliefs, and I don't think it's something that should be ignored by the people at the top. Right then, so getting on to the next part of it, I respect any football player's right to give political expression. Whether you agree with it or not, it's their right. They have the right to express themselves how they see fit, unless it's classed under hate speech. That's what your freedom of speech is all about. I know things differ on a workplace kind of play. Basically, when it comes to the workplace, there are different sort of standards of what happens in a work environment. But when it comes to freedom of speech, well, when you're being public with it, outside of your working environment, you have the right to do and say what you feel, and have the right to an opinion on whatever you feel you want to have an opinion on. The only time is when it's hate speech, and hate speech by definition is speech that's basically threatening or encouraging violence on any particular people or group. Apologies, I was just receiving a phone call there. Right then, so personally, when it comes to taking the knee, I'll never criticise players for doing it. Or if they want to become a political spokesperson in the press or via social media, I'll never criticise them, because again, it's their freedom of expression, their freedom of speech, or their personal choice, which is a big part of this. Personal choice is what all this comes down to. Now, if somebody wants to take the knee because they feel there's systematic racism in society, then it's their place to do that. It's up to them. Although I've said football is not a political platform, and that will be proven by FIFA and the fact that they were denying permission for people to wear poppies the 1 year, which I think is completely wrong. Personally, I think poppies is not a political. It's not a political thing. It's a remembrance thing. Say football's not a political platform, so football in general should not be encouraging any particular political statement. But I believe that if an individual player or if a group of players decide to make some kind of political expression, it's their human right under free speech to do so. So like I said, I'll never criticise a team for taking the knee. I'll never criticise an individual for saying things in the media and on their social media that are political. It's their choice. Now, one of the things that was brought into question regarding my club, Newport County, which is what this video is primarily about, is the criticism of my club. Now, when it comes to political opinions, like I said, this is a football vlog. I've said that football is not a political platform. I'm not exercising my own political opinions on this video. I'm merely talking about the subject of the taking the knee itself. So basically what it was, our chairman was the one who was criticised for not, I got to put it, leading from the top, should we say, to make sure players do it. For me, that's very, very dangerous ground. I mean, if you look at terms of fascism, dictatorships, forceful, authoritarian type opposition to democracy type of situation, totalitarianism is another way of summing up fascism, you know, demanding complete control. For me, if a leader of a football club, like a chairman or any other director or general manager of a football club, or even the manager itself of the team, enforces political speech onto anybody, that falls under that category. You know, where your fascism, dictatorship, tyranny, you know, your forceful authoritarian and totalitarianism, that comes under that in a massive way. You cannot enforce political speech on people. It's not fair. It's against their human right for free speech. And that's not even an opinion. That, unfortunately, is a matter of fact. And forcing speech onto people is a very dangerous ground to go down. Everyone's entitled to an opinion, of course. Especially then, they should be entitled to an opinion without their character being brought into question. People shouldn't be calling people out over this type of thing. If people choose to express themselves over a political subject, that's their choice. If they choose not to do anything when others are doing it, again, that's their choice, and they're entitled to that choice without their character being brought into question. Now, Newport County do an awful lot within the anti-racism cause in football, and all it takes is for you to follow their social media to see that they do that an awful lot. I mean, I see an awful lot of, like I say, media images, articles, posts being released by the club that stand against racism. Unfortunately, all that's been ignored, and it's all come down to whether the club took the knee against Tranmere or not. Like I say, well, that's the third game that they've done it before they've even noticed. I support a campaign against racism because I believe there's no place for racism in football or in society. Everybody is entitled to live in an equal and free world. But then there's obviously the side of that where they're free to choose what they want to do with their freedom of speech. They shouldn't be enforced to do anything. So the enforcement of taking the knee, criticism for clubs who don't do it, I believe is wrong. I think that if they decide not to do it, there shouldn't be anything mentioned about it afterwards. If they decide to do it, it's their choice to do it. And if they feel as though they could be making a difference in society by doing it, then good luck to them, and it's good for them. I don't support a dictatorship within football clubs. Club leaders should not be encouraged to enforce political speech onto its players or coaching staff. And equally, referees should also have the same rights, because everybody is a human being. Everybody has the right to their own free speech. And for me, enforcing political speech and expression on footballers is a dangerous ground to be walking down. And like I said, a risque subject to talk about, I know, and it's a shame because it's my freedom of speech personally to have my opinion and express it on this situation, and I may come under criticism for it, and if that happens, so be it. But I stand by my football club. I stand by the players, I stand by the chairman, the manager, and everybody else associated with the club, because we do an awful lot to stamp out racism out of football, and I believe not taking the knee is not a reason to criticise my football club. So that's pretty much all I've got to say on the subject. So thanks for watching. Hopefully I don't get too much of a backlash on this, but I felt it needed to be said. Thank you, cheerio for now, and as always, up the county. Many thanks for watching the latest content on the Amber Army channel. Please make sure you leave us a like. Make sure you subscribe for more content, both for the neutral football fan and also plenty of Newport County. Even more Newport County content can be found on the club's iFollow channel on the link above. It is just £4.49 per month to subscribe to that service. And those of you feeling extra generous can also support us on Patreon on the link at the bottom there. That would be a monthly donation of your choice. Thank you again, make sure you've subscribed, and as always, up the county.